A family friend at the Bureau of Indian Affairs helped her apply to the University of New Mexico, and then Deb Haaland was on her way to a life she never could have ever imagined. Deb knew that getting a college degree was the right path for her. Still, it wasn't easy taking classes and working to pay her way through school. She was in her senior year when she found out she was pregnant. But she kept moving forward with her studies. Months later, with a belly so big she couldn't zip up her commencement gown, she marched proudly across the stage for her commencement ceremony, receiving her bachelor's degree in English in 1994. 4 days later, she gave birth to Soma, her daughter. After completing her bachelor's degree, Deb's innovative spirit led to start a small business. Food is an important element in Native American culture. Powwows and celebrations and family get-togethers all center around shared meals. Deb comes from a long line of good cooks, so food was what she decided to focus her business on. She started a salsa company called Pueblo Salsa and traveled around the Southwest selling her product at a variety of events. As a single mother, Deb took Soma everywhere with her, forging a mother-daughter relationship based on trust and love. With Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill blasting from the car stereo, they sold her product. I wanted Soma with me 24 hours a day because I felt like I needed to influence her at that young age. And it paid off, Deb says. Deb Haaland traveled down many roads while determining how she could be a strong advocate for Native people and the population at large. As her political vision started to take shape, she knew she could identify with people who deserved a place at the table. She knew what it was like to be poor. She says, some of the experiences I had as a single parent, being on food stamps, piecing together health care for my daughter, these experiences helped me to understand what 99% of my district experiences now. I felt I could be an authentic voice and represent them because I had been through what they were going through. Deb's advocacy for justice has been her rallying cry throughout her adult life and is what led her to her seat in Congress. Deb's empathy and motivation spurred her historic win for her seat in the 116th U.S. Congress House of Representatives. With Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas, together, Deb and she entered the House floor. They were the first Native American women to ever hold seats in that chamber. In doing so, Deb's fight continued for better funding for education for Native children and adults, improvements on tribal lands, and addressing the horrific problem of murdered and missing indigenous people. Deb sponsored the bill Justice for Native American Survivors, Women Survivors of Sexual Violence, which increases efforts in confronting the crisis of murdered and missing indigenous people. The legislation restores criminal jurisdiction to tribal courts so they can prosecute cases of sexual assault, sex trafficking, and stalking crimes in Indian country. On the morning Deb was to be sworn into Congress, her office was buzzing with many folks in bolo ties and cowboy boots and ribbon dresses. Friends and family from New Mexico were there to share this historic moment. The room quieted as Deb's 83-year-old mother was wheeled in. She was steered Deb steered her mother into her office and pointed to the few pieces of decor she had on her shelves. There was the framed black and white photos of her parents and grandparents, and a Kachina doll given to her by her mother. Mary Toya reached for her daughter's hand as she surveyed the wall. Tears welled up in her eyes as she said, "I am so very proud of you." During her first 2 years in Congress, Deb Haaland's reputation as a strong leader, a pragmatist, and a problem solver led to another first. Deb's native upbringing, broad experience, and staunch defense of federal and tribal lands garnered recognition from the Biden administration, resulting in her nomination to lead the U.S. Department of the Interior. Shortly after that nomination, hope became reality with the unprecedented Senate confirmation of the first Native American to lead the U.S. Department of the Interior. On March 15, 2021, Debra Ann Haaland was sworn in, making her the first Native American to hold a cabinet position. That night, Deb's image was projected on the side of the Department of the Interior building in downtown Washington, D.C., with the text that read, "Our ancestors' dreams come true."